Thank you very much for opening this fifth democracy talk. And my name is Diana Trevino. I'm project officer at the European University Continuing Education Network. And I'm very happy to introduce our guests, Maarja Hallik and Merike Saar. I think we're still waiting for her, right?
Yes, she is having some troubles with the internet, so she's trying again. Hopefully she can join.
Okay. But I will start just introducing you a little bit and what we will speak about. So Maarja Hallik is a junior researcher and PhD student from the Tallinn University, and Merike Saar is a teacher and researcher who finished her PhD and in the area of teaching research, and she also has developed an online tool for evaluating student engagement. And both will, or Maarja, we'll see, will present to us a project that makes use of project-based learning in combination with elements of education for sustainable development and global education. And in the end, we will then have some time to discuss about your presentation. So thank you, Maarja, and I will hand over to you.
Yes, thank you so much. Hopefully Merike can join us in a few minutes. You know, sometimes those technical issues just come at the last moment, but I am very happy to present you about a project that me and Merike and another colleague started about 4 to 5 years ago. Our main question was how can we create transformative learning experiences for young people? And transformative both in the sense of individual transformation, but also in the sense of the world around us and the communities around us. And I'm going to also share a few slides just to have a bit more interesting background for this, what I'm going to say. So just a moment. Okay. Can you see? Yeah, good. Okay, so we call this initiative Proovikivi. It was called Glocally Transformative Learning Lab in the beginning, but we just wanted to have something that's more native to our language. And the Proovikivi actually means touchstone in English. And if you know, touchstone is the rock that is used to test whether silver or gold are real, at least in Estonian, that's what it means. But it also means a challenge. We often use this word when we speak about something tough that needs to be overcome. And so we named this Proovikivi. And the logo also has this kind of line in between, which is about connection and cooperation. And it also reminds us of a heart. So it's also about the soul or the heart of things. So that's the background of our name and our logo. And I'm very glad, Merike, you were also able to join. We already introduced you very briefly, saying that you are a teacher, researcher, and doing all sorts of great things. And so, yeah, about 4 to 5 years ago, we came together. And the only reason really was because my colleagues Merike and Anu believed in this. I wasn't an active teacher, and I was all the time told that the teachers want to listen to other teachers. So I'm very glad that they joined. And so in a nutshell, it's an educational program that brings project-based learning to Estonian schools and helps students to contribute to their local community and more widely to the society. And maybe just I mentioned earlier about transformative learning. So 4 or 5 years ago, we were asking, what is transformative learning? And well, we know now that when we develop civic competences, it's good it's good to have a civics lesson. It's good to learn the theory and to have the knowledge, but it's not enough. And research shows that we need pedagogies that are more broadly student-centered and that support students actively engaging and actively doing things by themselves. And we basically ended up realizing that what we want to do is project-based learning. But I'm just going to jump over these slides and go back later. Basically, we also realized that it has other elements mixed into it, like education for sustainable development and global education and place-based education. So as an educator, sometimes it's hard to orient yourself in all these different methods that are sometimes quite similar to one another. I could add so many others to this list that are quite similar. So we kind of stuck to calling it project-based learning, but it has other elements. And we created this sort of visual where we kind of made sense of Proovikivi as a pyramid. And on the top of this pyramid, we have different national and local and international goals. For example, the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. And the idea of this was to show how the Proovikivi challenges are connected to the goals that we all share, either locally or internationally, and these are also connected to one another. And then the projects that the students do, they're kind of under these challenges or under these Proovikivis. And these again translate into actions which create change. Mm-hmm. And which are part of the learning experience. So this is basically our theory of change. And we have a website where we have these challenges listed. And of course, this is not an exhaustive list of challenges, but it is just to give some inspiration to the teachers and youth workers and the students participating in this sort of project-based learning. And yeah, this is just a photo going back the memory lane. This is Merike there and our other colleague Anu. And we started with like 5 teachers, with 6th graders, 8th graders, and 10th and 11th graders. And really, project-based learning is nothing new. But perhaps for some of the teachers, it was new in their context and in the context of their lessons. And as it happened, most of the teachers were English teachers. And yeah, so we kind of developed the model further. There's just some steps that we developed. For example, tuning in and finding, first of all, finding the problem or challenge that one wants to work on, then the research phase, proposing solutions, and so forth. And of course, emphasizing reflection, which is so important for learning. And the challenge for teachers was to figure out how can they bring this into their subject lessons, and also whether they can collaborate with any other subject teachers. So we've always encouraged sort of interdisciplinary learning and collaboration. And yeah, I'll just show a few photos, and then I will allow Merike to share, and perhaps we have time to watch a video. I'm not sure if the sound will be good enough. We can try. But anyway, there's just some photos from the initial piloting. For example, here, Anu, our colleague, is demonstrating the research that they did with students about their local community. Students went around, asked questions from other students and from their parents and people living in that area, and then they ended up doing statistics, which was integrated with mathematics, and then having to report it, then which was again integrated with report writing in English. So lots of integration. And in the end, They were like changed children. When at the beginning of the project, they were really shy. They didn't really dare to speak with me when I visited them, and group work didn't come naturally for them. But at the end of the project, they were much more confident. They were able to speak freely. Here in this photo, they are presenting their project at Helsinki University. And then this is the 6th graders and the 10th graders or 11th graders. And yeah, basically, I did my master's thesis on this, and we found that overall, we could say that the many general competences, which could be considered as competences for democratic citizenship, were developed. And they also started to think about learning in a different way. Yeah, and then we also tried to scale it up with teacher innovation labs. And here, Merike really had an important role in supporting teachers. So maybe, Merike, you would like to add something?
Well, yes, I work as a teacher and teacher trainer. So I've been now carrying out this project in our school for 6 years, as it appears. So every year in the month of February, from February to March, April, we try to involve our 10th graders in project-based learning in English classes. So they mostly do their project during their English classes, and of course some of the things they have to do out of class as well as home assignments. And I was just looking for their feedback, and they say that they can improve, let's say, vocabulary. So sometimes teachers ask that it's a waste of time that students don't learn the curriculum, but I would definitely say that actually you can incorporate everything in the curriculum and even more into project-based learning. So they learn vocabulary, they learn how to write reports, and then it's not just some weird thing out of the nowhere, but they collect their own data, because in order to understand whether this project is also meaningful to other people in the community, not only for them, they have to carry out questionnaires. So based on these questionnaires, they make presentations and elevator speeches to convince other people to join their team. And so they learn also how to report their findings. So we practice reported speech and other grammar and vocabulary related things. Then they have to present their elevator speeches, which improves their public speaking skills. Then they have to describe their project, which then helps with their text production. And so there are so many aspects that you can use it. And also, in addition to language learning, students say that they also learn, let's say, editing skills, because quite often they make videos or add subtitles to them, record podcasts, also debating skills, because they have to discuss things. Group work becomes a very important part, sharing roles so that not 1 or 2 people do everything, because they usually work in groups of 4 to 5 people, not more. And so there are lots of things they can learn. As to the teachers, maybe the most difficult thing at the beginning for teachers is to let go, because teachers want to be in control. They want to know what's going to happen. But with this project, we give our authority over to students. It's their project. And during the brainstorming phase, any ideas are allowed. My students have suggested to build, to install what are they? Solar panels on the roof, because the electricity bills were very high last winter. And then they have to realize that they need to narrow down their project to something that they can do. It's not something they say, let that be done, but they have to do it. They have to carry it out as well, find resources, and within this time limit of 2 months. So then they realize that they need to adapt their things and maybe join other projects. But initially, as a teacher, you would want to tell them at once that, oh, this is not a suitable idea, but you can't. You have because during brainstorming, you can't say that this is not a good idea. So they have to realize it themselves. Then they also say that quite often it's difficult to make sure that all the students contribute and that they can negotiate things. So we also teach group work phases. So what are they? Storming and norming, and the first one is So
yeah, it's like when the group gets together, they first go through the confusion and finding the roles, and
and also we introduced European sustainability goals. So they link all their projects to these global issues, but the issue in the community is up to them to decide. So our students' topics vary from stress management to helping stray animals or sorting garbage or doing book exchanges or contributing or bringing their old things to school to give to the ones who need them. So all kinds of different things. For example, this year, a project that our principal, and then they have to present it to their principal, school principal. And this year, the principal liked most the idea of an app where students could contribute with ideas how to improve school. So it wouldn't be an app for complaints, but an app that students developed to collect student ideas on how to improve school life, which is a pretty nice idea in general. So yes, as for teachers, so you need to learn first how to now incorporate the project into your subject so that you can still manage your curriculum. Then also give the upper hand to your students, but keep them on track and just encourage them. I always say that for me personally, it's the time when I'm least busy because the students are doing the work mostly. But they present in groups. They also write personal reports. They do reflections. So there is lots of language use in their in the process. And sometimes I remember Anu's students ask, when do we learn English? And then they don't even realize that when they are communicating in English, it is the process of learning. So these are the remarks, yeah? And so we have produced materials for teachers that help them.
Yeah, these were some of the quotes that Anu's students actually said about the learning. And when I interviewed, for example, Merike's students, they had completely forgotten that they got grades, which was very surprising because usually they feel quite a lot of stress in school because of the grades. But in this kind of project-based learning, they even forgot that they got grades, which was very interesting. And one of the main things I wanted to find out was whether they would feel more empowered. And actually, I could say that based on the interviews, they did feel more empowered because often they would say that I didn't think I could really make any difference in my community. But then because of this project, that they realized that they can actually do something. So if we want to develop active citizens who dare to try and who dare to contribute, then this sort of project-based learning method is, I would say, very effective because you don't only include the most active students who naturally participate in the school council or in wherever, but it includes everyone who is in the class, even the so-called weaker students academically. And therefore, we think that this kind of experience is a really good experience to have. And not only in English lessons, but other teachers from other subjects have also done it and somehow managed. So yeah, this has been our experience, and we definitely want to continue building on it in the Democrat project. And yeah, I think I will just link the video. It's in English that the students did on their project, and we can share with our viewers. But for now, I guess we can open up for questions and other learnings.
Yeah, thank you very much, Maya, and also Merike. I just want to make a comment. I have technical problems, so I cannot see my screen, but I hear you, and I think you can hear me, so it should work. Well, I took note of some questions. Thank you very much, first of all, for your presentation. And the first question I would have is what kind of democratic competencies did you develop, or could you assess through the project-based learning approach in order to have more empowered students and to become globally active citizens?
Mhm. Okay, I'll start. So we have had a couple of master's theses on this, and of course there's plenty of other research done by other people before us and after us. And the main competences, I would say, are related to teamwork, knowing how to solve conflicts, knowing how to communicate effectively, how to divide up roles, and how to achieve what you want to achieve together.
And
But
actually
then,
carry out the project from start to end. This is something they say, students say they would need in life.
yeah, like to actually make a project, to actually create something.
Time
But then,
planning.
And then there are all sorts of other competences which are related as well, and it depends a little bit on what is emphasized in the project and how the teacher guides it. But as we saw earlier, there's the research phase, for example, where they have to understand what the problem is, where does it come from, who it affects, is it actually a real problem, what has been done to solve it. So this teaches all kinds of critical thinking and reading comprehension and so forth. It can be very well connected to media literacy and ethics. And we have also connected it to design thinking. So the students learn how to problem solve effectively. There comes then the brainstorming and coming up with solutions, and then how do you narrow it down? So they learn problem solving skills, but also taking initiative. They have to be quite courageous. If they want to do something in their community, they might have to go and speak to somebody who they have never spoken with. They need to maybe make a call, go to the principal. So
this is very difficult for students to go to a stranger and start a conversation with them. So this is really a challenge.
Yeah, but it puts them in the situation where they have to overcome this fear, and everyone has managed so far.
And they also develop their digital competencies a lot, because our projects usually involve also creating videos about their project and presenting it. And so there is filming and editing and all kinds of things. So loads of different skills they acquire during this project.
Yes, having to present everything, managing, the presentation, being concise and clear. So many competences, many skills.
Because before every presentation, before they write their reports, we also teach them. We watch other videos, or they learn from YouTube how to make a public speech or elevator speech. So there is lots of learning actually, and the learning of skills they would need in life in the future.
Okay. I don't know if there are any questions in the chat. I cannot see my screen, so maybe Stephen or someone could have a look. If not, I have
I would
yes.
like to ask something, if possible, Diana. I was just wondering, because I understand that this project has been developed because of the project Democrat, but I was just wondering if, because of the success and the results that you are having, if you are thinking about making it again next year or future years, and are you going to improve it in any way, or are you thinking of how to make it bigger with more people, or what is your idea now?
Yeah, just to be clear, we started with it actually, Merike, I think maybe already 6 years ago. Where does time go? Yeah, 5, 6 years ago. But yes, we are planning to develop it further with Democrat. It actually, me participating in Democrat gives us a chance to go deeper and really build on what we have already started. And we have a couple of different thoughts. First of all, we see that teachers need support. And we did those teacher innovation lab meetings, which kind of coincided with COVID. So it made physical meetings difficult. So we mostly met on Zoom. And we realized that every teacher moves at their own pace. And so it was a little bit difficult to pace everyone. But what we found was that we actually have quite a lot of material. And we are now in the process of putting it online into like an online learning space. And then the idea is to maybe combine it with Zoom meetings where teachers can actually meet one another, because they said that meeting each other and hearing others' ideas and getting feedback to their own project idea was the most beneficial part, because sometimes they would get stuck.
Yes.
They need peers. So like a learning community. So that is our plan in relation to Democrat. And also because it's not just individual projects that teachers do, we kind of want to bring them together under these Proovikivi challenges. So developing further these challenges with partners and making connections to like local NGOs or companies is also our goal. It takes a lot of work. We don't have all the resources, but we will try step by step. But the idea is that we want to create like a sense of we are doing something together for the community and for the society, and to showcase that the children and youth can make a difference, and to also enable them to connect with other projects across schools or across regions. So that's also one of the steps we want to take further.
Yeah. And when Merike was talking and explaining the different projects that, or the different ideas and things that the kids were developing, and I was thinking that it actually helps them to be kind of innovative and have innovative thinking about different situations and about different opportunities. So it's really so important, isn't it, to be able to figure that wish of doing different things in a different way and exploring.
Yeah, and I want to emphasize that some of the projects really go beyond the school communities and try to involve other partners. Especially when they do research on their topic, nowadays they go online and they get responses from over 200 responses for their service, which is really amazing, to be honest. Yeah. So 40 or 30 students working or in a group of 4 or 5 people, and they get over 200 responses. So you can see they are really doing things that they think are important to change life. And maybe the most important thing is that you sow the seed for them to think that they are the ones who need to initiate change and innovation.
Excellent. Diana.
So yes, I'm back and I can see you again. This is great. I would like also to ask another question. What you have mentioned it already a little bit from the teacher perspective, but what were some of the key challenges you faced when introducing the project-based learning approach in school settings, from the teacher perspective, but also from the student's perspective? Because I guess, well, it's more time consuming also, this kind of, but you can better answer this.
Yeah, I should say that for me, maybe at the beginning, the first year, it was a bit more time consuming, as it is always with a new thing, because you have to consider carefully how to start, where from, to get the students on board and really pass the project over to them, not to hold on to it yourself. So this was the main challenge for the teachers, I guess, because I don't work alone. I work with another colleague, and now that we've done it for 5-6 years, it's not a problem. It's not time consuming because we developed our own tempo, how much time we spend on different tasks. We have all the materials produced by Provikivi already, so we can use their slides, videos, text for teachers, questionnaires for students, so different things. And so yes, first year it's difficult for a new teacher because they need to onboard themselves, but then actually it's much easier. And nowadays we also have turned to more self-reflection by students and also peer reflection, peer feedback. And this has reduced my workload again. Yeah. So from the students' perspective, some people don't like working in groups. And this even at university level, we also have university level groups sometimes, and they say that they are afraid of working in groups because their previous experience has been that one person has to do it for everyone. So, but here they can't do it because they also need to hand in individual assignments. So they do carry out research together, but then everyone has to write a report. So they are genuinely involved in it. They can't rely on anybody else, but they can help each other because designing the questionnaire is a difficult thing. They have never done it before. So we first teach them what kind of questions to ask, how to format it. So we provide lots of input first. So they are supported. It's not that go and do a questionnaire. No, we really teach, and we have all the material available for teachers, so they don't have to invent it. And we even have teachers who go to schools to help teachers explain how to carry out a nice small research project or how to compile a questionnaire. Then how to interpret the data is another thing they learn to do. How to write a report, what it consists of. So all those things come together. But yeah, for students, sometimes it's working together and listening to each other. So this is a huge learning point for students. Other than that, they have sometimes said that it might be too time consuming because you see, some people want to excel and they take a really big challenge. They don't have to do that much, but then they want to do it. They get excited themselves and then they might overdo it and put too much effort into it. So as a teacher, you also have to keep an eye on that, that they don't stress out because of the project.
Okay, thank you. I would have a last question for both of you, Maarja and Merike. In what ways do you believe that the project-based learning contributes to the development of competencies that are crucial for democratic societies?
Well, as we mentioned, the different competencies already, I believe it helps us to become better citizens because we can learn how to communicate, we can learn how to work together on problems, how to solve them. And I would say also, once I spoke to a student, and they said that even though their project didn't succeed exactly how they thought it would, they said they gained a new kind of respect for anyone who is trying to do something in the society, because they realized how hard it is to change things. And you don't know until you try yourself. It is easy to stay behind the screen and criticize and put nasty comments. But when you actually try to do things yourself, you realize the complexities and how much effort it takes. So I believe this sort of project-based learning, where students can contribute to their community or the society, really teaches them what it means to be an active member and to take responsibility.
And maybe another thing is that at least in Estonia, students are pretty good at theory, but not in practice. So this is another thing we want to improve. And to be honest, my 10th formers have not always even heard about those European Sustainable Development Goals. And this is the first time they now can relate them to practical issues and understand what they are all about. Other than that, they are just theoretical constructs and not meaningful for the young.
Yeah.
Okay.
And maybe
Yes.
if I can add one last thing, because project-based learning as a method is it's so like versatile. It allows different teachers to adapt it to their own subject, but it also allows to explore democracy in different ways. So I would say that the context of the project is really important, and how it is being framed. And we mentioned this kind of tuning in and the reflection part. So I would say it's so important to take time to reflect, and to also reflect on the said democratic skills and democratic society. Because if we don't bring students' attention to these things, they might miss the learning. And that has happened many times before. So I really want to emphasize how important it is to help the students to make those connections through reflection. And that's all.
Okay, thank you very much. I think I must say I personally totally agree with the learning approach, and I think this should be somehow implemented more commonly in public schools. But I don't know if we have any further questions, maybe from the chat. No? So then yes, so I can just say thank you very much to both of you for giving us this insight.